Welcome to Fourth Form Latin. We will be covering Lesson 7 as well as the Unit 1 review. Let's begin with the prayer in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. All right. So if you haven't done so, open your books to page 22 in your fourth form. Kevin, did you have your book, right? Yes? Yeah. Awesome. Yay. Oh, now no more amnesty for you. I'm getting you. All right. So let's go over the Latin sayings. If you need a little bit of extra help, they are on page 99 in the back. But remember to keep them fresh in your head as much as possible. So here we go. All right. So Dominic, I believe in one God. Unum Deum. Yep. Anthony, I sing of arms and men.
Arma Garum.
There you go. All right. And Kevin, esteem is the reward of virtue. Honor.
Honor.
Right. Okay. So it's right there in the middle of page. The cool thing about this is notice they also have them numbered. If you look in the very right-hand column. So, and I'm doing them in order. So that was, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So that's lesson 3. So if you spot the number 3 right there in the right-hand column, that's the next one. So for example, Dominic, let others wage war. That's obviously from lesson 4. You spot lesson 4 right there in the right-hand column and over. And what is it? Dominic.
I'm doing it from memory.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Bella.
Very good. Anthony, into the middle of things.
In medias res.
Good. And so, Kevin, what should I do in Rome?
Quid Romae faciam.
Very good. All right. So let's go over our Latin saying for this week. Page 20, top of page 22. Nunc dimittis. So now you dismiss. So these should sound familiar because these are the opening words of Simeon's prayer after seeing the child Jesus at the temple in Jerusalem. So the presentation. So God told Simeon that he wouldn't die until after he saw the Messiah, right? So Simeon, after seeing Jesus, can now say, Lord, let thy servant depart in peace according to thy word, for mine eyes have seen thy salvation. This is from Luke chapter 2, verses 29 through 30. So this canticle or song of Simeon is one of 3 in the New Testament, along with obviously Mary's Magnificat and the Benedictus given by Zechariah. Okay, so break it down the same. Oops, I forgot to delete this and go over this. So we're obviously not going to do that. But anyway, so nunc, that's the Latin word. It means now. And dimitto, dimittere, that's, so dimittis is obviously the second plural, second person, singular rather. No, I'm right, plural. Present, you dismiss, okay? So there we have it. So let's go jump over and let's look at right there, the bottom of page 22, when in Rome. So how do the Romans say that? So when you translate Latin to English, you need to be aware that the Romans often used words without a preposition. In English, we always use a preposition. So for example, proilium is a good example of this. So proilio, you'll see it all by itself. It's in the ablative. It means in battle. Okay, they just decided to leave out the in. Okay, and so example of this in a sentence, if you see something like milites proilio, poignant. And you're like, wait a minute, that can either be dative or it can be ablative. You have to kind of check both out. Is it a direct object? Well, no, it doesn't make sense to be the direct object there. So probably what happened here is, in fact, that the Latins left out the preposition in, okay? So just be aware of that. Sometimes they will leave out the preposition. It's your job as the translator to come up with, okay, what makes sense grammatically. Now note, in the locative case, if you have the word locus, if it is not modified by an adjective, you're going to use the preposition in. If locus is modified by an adjective, then in is optional. Okay? So, not modified by a preposition, by an adjective rather, use the preposition in. But if it is modified, you don't have to. It's optional. So a good example of this is in loco, in a place. In a suitable place, in loco idoneo. Or you could just do loco idoneo. Why? Because it's got an adjective there. You can, or you may not choose to use the preposition. This one, it's mandatory. But here, when you have an adjective, it's optional. So a good example of this is this sentence. The army pitched camp in a suitable place. Aha, we have an adjective here, suitable. So I can either choose to put this in or not. If I don't, you're just going to have loco idoneo, right, going on. And you're going to have to, again, go, those two match. Huh. I wonder if, again, that's dative or ablative. So again, depending on the sense of the sentence. So for example, the army pitched camp for a suitable place. No, probably not. It's probably the ablative going on there. But again, you have to kind of be able to justify it grammatically, figure it out if you're wondering. So in the accusative, in must be used, okay? So if you have in English, you see something like into a suitable place, there is no option. You have to use in there, okay? So keep that in mind when you're doing this week's homework, okay? All right, let's quickly look over the vocabulary right there in the middle of page 22. So, Kevin, can you do the first three, please?
Audivo, audivare, audivi, auditus, help or aid. Compero, with regular principal parts, to get ready, to prepare. Conserva, with regular first conjugation principal parts, to preserve or spare.
Good, exactly. And they know that you guys know what that means by the one now, because you guys are pros at it. You know what that one means. All right, Anthony.
Demito, demiteri, demissi, demissus, to send away or dismiss. Convenio, convenere, conveni, conventus, to come together, assemble. Accommodo, to adapt to.
Right, with regular first conjugation principal parts. All right, and Dominic, these last four, please.
Accommodo, ministra, to govern, manage, tend to, propinquo, with dative, to approach, draw near to, helico, to place, station, confirmo, to encourage, and strengthen.
All right. Now, a couple of notes. Keep your eye on these grammar while we take in these concepts. If you look over there at the top of page 23, notice the first 5 verbs. What do we notice about them? They're actually verbs that you already know, but what did they do? They just added a prefix to the beginning of it. So it was either ad or cum, or the particle di. That's what's going on here with these vocabulary words. Now let's break it down. So ad. So for example, adiuvo. That's ad, the preposition ad, to or towards, plus the verb uvo, meaning to help. So you get adiuvo, to aid. It's literally to give help to. You see that? And again, Cum, it means together or with, you know, paro, to prepare. So cum paro, to get ready, literally to prepare together, to get ready. Conservo, you have cum plus servo, conservo, to preserve. Okay, con plus venio means come. Convenio, to assemble, literally to come together. And then D, the particle D, di, apart. So you can kind of see where that's kind of coming from the preposition de, remember, which means out of or from, you know, so you can get the sense of that apart. Mito, so literally to send apart, to dismiss. Okay, so a preposition spelling and the meaning may change when used as a prefix, as you notice. Look, cum is changing to con here, or com. Now let's look at that. So, and why that is, you know, so the cum changes to com in comparo and con in conservo and convenio. The meaning of cum with, it's slightly altered. Rather than with, you get, it's changed to together, although you can see how those are related when it's used as a prefix. Okay. All right. So all of the compounds above are conjugated exactly like the original verb. That's why they have the one in front of it, just so that you guys see it. So no change there with how you actually conjugate it. They just added a prefix to it. That's what they really want to emphasize there with that bullet point. Now, the last 5 vocabulary words also have prefixes. You haven't learned the original verbs, but you should be able to at least spot that the con is a form of cum, and obviously ad, that's odd. All right. Now, this is going to really come in handy when you take the SATs or the ACTs. If you can break it apart into words. So if you see odd, that means two, and then komodo, you know, you're like, oh, let's put those two together. Now notice sometimes the initial, notice the odd plus komodo equals komodo. See, so the initial, the D is changing to a C to match the initial consonant in komodo. Now notice that happens also again with odd and propinquo. The D is changing to a P to match it. Now that's something that we do regularly also in English, where we'll kind of slur things together, and so some letters will change. Now cum plus loco. Now again, the U and the M in cum is changing to an O and an L, the L to duplicate the L here in loco. Okay. So whenever you see co in front, that's really cum hiding out. Okay. All right. So many words with double letters in English come from a prefixed Latin word whose spelling changed to make pronunciation easier. So for example, accommodate. That's really the AC there at the beginning. That's odd. It's disguised as an AC. So odd plus komodo, you know, or collocate, you know. So again, that's cum. They're disguised as a CO. So just something to keep in mind, little tricks for when you go and you don't know a word on the SAT or the ACT. Just break it apart. It's usually has Latin roots, most of them, you know. There are some Greek words in there and some French words and things. Can't help you with those, but otherwise it's all good. All right, now let's go over some of the grammatical aspects. This is at the back of your book, so head to your syntax section at the back of your book. So let's start on page 130. We're going to cover the syntax number 9 and number 10. So let's look at the ablative of agent. Okay, that's number 9. So in the passive voice, the living agent performs the action of the verb may be expressed by the prepositional phrase with the preposition a or ab which takes the object in the ablative case. Okay, what's a good example of this? Okay, so a good example of this is, so for example, if I had Dominic baked a cake. This would obviously be the active voice, right? So Dominic is the doer. He's the one baking the cakes. But this is what they're talking about in the passive voice. Let's make this passive. The cake was baked by Dominic. Okay? This is the passive voice. This is what we're talking about. Now notice in the passive voice, the person who's actually doing the baking is an object of the preposition by. You see that? Now let's look more specifically at this with the example that they give. So the Gauls are conquered by Caesar. Okay, so this by Caesar, this is called ablative of agent. Anybody have any ideas as to why this is called ablative of agent?
Caesar is the agent doing the passive action.
Right, doing the passive action. So he's actually the subject. He's the agent. He's the agent who is the doer. He's the doer, but you know, so again, ablative of agent here. Do you guys know how you can always spot, and it's always going to come after a passive verb. Okay, so look at are conquered. You have some type of a helping verb plus an ed verb. So you guys know how to spot passive verbs. So ablative of agent should be easy for you guys to spot as well. It's always what they say, a living agent. So let's put that up here. So ablative of agent equals living agent. Like who performs the action of a verb. Okay. All right. So that's that first point. That's number 9. All right. Now let's go to number 10. Let's distinguish this from ablative of means. Okay, so ablative of means, as you remember, is the ablative without a preposition. And it is used to express the non-living agent, the means or the instrument of the action. So these are things. It's non-living. And this is used, as they said, without a preposition. Okay, this one has a preposition. Okay, so I'm going to say uses preposition. And of course, because it's a person, it's usually by, so it's usually a or ob. Okay, but this one uses a preposition. Let's, and it's usually with. It can be by, but in the sense of by means of, but it's usually a cum, you know, more of a with swords or by means of swords. Let's do one of these. So Kevin, I'm going to change it. Kevin conquers the town with swords. Okay. So here we have, Kevin conquered the town with swords. So let's go ahead and translate this. So your name doesn't, so let's do Kevinus. Okay, and then conquered. Do conquered for me, guys.
Vici.
Yep, Vicit. So Kevinus Vicit, what? The town. So that's our direct object. So what is it?
Oppidum.
Yep. And then with swords. So again, that's non-living. It's by means of or with swords. So this is that ablative of means coming in. So we put it in the ablative without using a preposition. So look at this. Yep, gladi. Yeah, well, you're right. It should be singular, but I wanted him to use swords. He's got one in either hand. He's like a ninja. Okay, gladiis. Okay, because I'm taking into account his black belt training. He's got 2 swords, one in either hand. Okay, so with swords. All right, so good. We got that. So everybody understands the difference between ablative of means and ablative of agent, correct? Yep. Good. All right, moving right along. Let's go over to number 34, which is over there on page 134. Okay, and let's talk about the uses of the superlative. They want us to specifically focus in on the sub-bullet here. So let's just read it over. So the superlative adjective is used more in Latin than in English and is thus weaker. As such, it is translated by very, okay? You guys know this. We've covered this before. So like adjectives, the superlative adverbs are weaker than their English counterparts and can be translated by very. I'm not going to even make a note there because you guys know this. This isn't a difficult concept for you guys. Let's scoot down the page to number 37 through 39. Now, number 37. So 2 nouns or verbs to which a single adverb applies can be linked by quam. Now I am going to type that, okay? And you guys know what they're talking about there. So 2 nouns or verb, right? So they're talking about comparing. Right, because they're comparing 2 things, so it makes sense. So a dog runs faster than a man. Okay, I'm not doing very well with the typing here today. All right, so obviously this is we're comparing here. Runs faster than a man, unless the man is the Flash. But anyway, here we have number 38. Let's talk about transitive verbs. Does everyone know what I am talking about when I mention transitive verbs? What is a transitive verb? Anyone? Okay, so no one knows what I'm talking about with a transitive verb. So a transitive verb is one that takes a direct object, right? So yes, so it has a direct object. That's why when we labeled sentences in Shirley English, when we went baked what? Cake. Oh, baked. Verb transitive. Aha. So a transitive verb always has a direct object. Hey, no talking in class, you two. So they are called transitive because the action is carried across. So in other words, trans, notice that trans in transitive, it's carried across to the direct object. So transitive verb has a direct object. Easy enough, right? All right, so let's look at, what do you think intransitive means, guys?
Not transitive.
It means not transitive. It's not carried across, so it does not have a direct object. Okay? So, and what kind of verbs? A huge, okay, so these are, they're not used in the passive voice. So there's certain verbs. Can anybody give me an example of a verb, beside, an action verb that is not transitive? Anyone?
Ran.
Yep.
Or
Yeah,
he
ran.
ran to something.
Yeah, but to is not, you're running to, it would be the object of the preposition. So he ran to the store, or he ran outside. Again, there's no, you could say he ran, well, unless you're saying he ran the company, in which case that would be, that usage of it would be a direct object. But if you're just talking about physically running, then no, that would be intransitive, so you're correct. Anyone else?
That's a be verb.
Well, right, the to be verb can't have a direct object, but I'm talking about an action verb. Okay. So anyway, any verb, action verb, where you don't have a direct object, that is an intransitive verb. Okay. Now, if you were to continue your studies in Henley, because we are translating from Henley now, intransitive verbs have their fourth principal part in UM in vocabulary, okay, lists, while transitive verbs have their fourth principal part end in US, okay? So that's how Henley makes that distinction. So if you're flipping through the back, oh, I don't know that verb, and you flip through the back of the book in the glossary as you're doing your translations, if you see the fourth principal part end in UM, that means the verb is intransitive. If you see the verb, the fourth principal part end in US, then you'll know that it is in fact a transitive verb. Okay. And obviously, because intransitive verbs do not have direct objects, they are not used in the passive voice. Okay? Yep. Only transitive verbs can be used in the passive voice. Right? This is a transitive verb right here, baked. So that's how we can change it to the cake was baked by Dominic. Notice the direct object, cake, has now become the subject. See? You can flip-flop the sentence. But if it's an intransitive verb and you don't have a direct object, you don't have a subject of your sentence. You can't use it in the passive. Does that make sense to everybody? Good? We're good there?
Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. So now we're going to do a little bit of a quiz here, because we've learned about the ablative of agent and the ablative of means. So, which ablative construction only appears with passive verbs? Anyone? Passive verbs.
Oh, ablative of agent.
Very good. Ablative of agent. All right. So which can appear with either active or passive verbs? So which ablative construction can appear with either active or passive verbs? Anyone? You have a choice of ablative of means or agent or both. So, but since it says which can appear with both, with either one, if it's not agent, it's ablative of means. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So which type of ablative takes the preposition a or ab? Evan?
Agent.
Yes, agent. We have a winner. All right. Which does not use a preposition? Anthony?
What it means?
Oh, Kevin is stalling.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Kevin.
That's what happens. Double jeopardy. Kevin will step in and steal your points. That's it. No points for you, Anthony. All right. How do you translate an ablative of means? Fastest person to their buzzer wins extra gold star. What? By means of. That's one. 2 points for Dominic. With. There's one more. Or just. By. I steal the last points. That's it. No points for you guys because I had to answer. All right. I'll get zeros for today. Just kidding. All right. Here we go. Some facts about mythology. So this is going to be on your test for this week. This is your Roman culture stuff. So the underworld. So you have the rivers of the underworld. You had these 4 main rivers right here. Okay. You have the Styx, the Acheron, that one, and then the Lethe, you know. So you had the Charon. He's the ferryman of the dead, you know. He's taking your soul across the Styx into Hades. Well, hopefully not. You're not going there. We want to go to the other place. So notice that Charon, and this is important, is spelled with an A. Please don't confuse him with the centaur. Chiron with an I. It will be a trick question on your test. You will have to know which one is the ferryman and which one is the centaur. Okay? And we have Elysium and Tartarus. Okay? They're located in the underworld too. But you don't want to go to Taurus. Why is that? Because that's where the wicked and the are punished. Okay? You want to go to Elysium. You want to go to Elysium because that's where the good people, right, hung out. You want to go to the good people. You don't want to get you don't want to get punished with the other people. Now, Psyche, he had the task of fetching water from the Styx and obtaining Proserpina's beauty secrets, aka Persephone.
I thought Psyche was Cupid's wife. Is that a different Psyche?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's probably a girl. Yep, probably. Yep, there's a girl. But anyway, you got to obtain Persephone's beauty secrets. Okay, now let's talk about the Titans. These guys were before, they predate the regular Roman gods. So the punishment given, they were overthrown, you remember, by Zeus. It was, you know, Kronos was the guy who's like, one of my kids is going to overthrow me. I better eat all of them. I don't know. Weird. Why would you eat your children? But I guess if one is going to supplant you,
You should have been nicer.
you eat them? I don't know. But anyway, so the wife was like, you're not eating this one, and hid Zeus. And Zeus came back and did, in fact, you know, get him. And I think he chopped him open and out popped all the others, you know. So,
So that's Red Riding Hood.
so probably where Little Red Riding Hood comes from. That's probably a good guess. Punishment given to the Titan Atlas was to hold the sky or the world on his shoulders. And then you have Cronus, who swallowed his newborn offspring, as I was just talking about. And then you have the constellation Gemini, named for the twin brothers of Helen of Troy, Castor and Pollux. And then you have Leander. He swam across, excuse me, the Hellespont to be with his beloved hero. You have Pan. He invented the syrinx. It's a musical instrument of hollow reed pipes. And then Narcissus, who's a Greek youth who loved only himself. That's why you are a narcissist if you can, or AKA me monster, me, I got my first place, you know, in this. And then, of course, I did this. And then I did this. And oh, my beautiful, yeah, me monster. Another word for narcissist. It comes from the Greek youth, Narcissus, where he pined away because he saw this beautiful creature in the pool, which was namely his own reflection, and wouldn't talk back, you know, just mimic, yeah. Oh, beautiful one, you know, step into my world. No, yeah, you're in love with yourself. Okay, now, this guy is the son of Apollo. He's the father of medicine. And I'm not saying his name because it'll give away what word doctors use this particular tool. And you find it in his name. What is the name of the tool? A scalpel. Yep, you see that? You see that? So it's hidden in there, the scalpel. Okay. So that's why this guy is the father of medicine, and they named the scalpel after him. Probably. So anyway, now let's go over to your Unit 1 test, which the Unit 1 test is actually, oh, I thought it was shorter than it was. No, it's very long. I'm sorry, it's very long. So you have to do, so obviously you have to know all of the vocabulary on page 22. That's going to be your new vocabulary. But if you turn over to page 25, that's actually all of the vocabulary you need to know. So it's there on page 25, that big, long list on 25. That's it? Oh, Anthony wants more. What do you guys think? I can do that. I can do that. What do you think? I think Kevin's up for a challenge too.
Review words that were back here.
So,
We had to know all those too.
so the grammar, do we have any grammar? I am looking right now to see if we have any grammar. Yes, we have grammar. I will send those to you guys in, where are we on time? I'll send you guys those in an email, the ones you have to study along with the Roman mythology study questions, okay? So the grammar, obviously this is, I'm not going to put the pages because I don't know the unit, but essentially it's going to be all the grammar from Unit 1. Okay, that's going to be on there, but it's only just a couple questions on the test, only 4 of them. But again, I'm going to send it to you in an email. All right, and then obviously be able to translate sentences from Latin to English and English to Latin. And let's see, do we have any? Aha, Latin sayings. They're all listed right there on page 24, right there in the middle. Notice. So they're listed right there, 1 through 7. And then we're going to study your handouts, again, on Roman mythology. And I'm going to send them an email. Some study questions for you guys for those. And then you're going to have to, let's see. It's over here. So you're going to have to be able to decline Latus. Okay. You're going to have to so be able to give the positive, comparative, and superlative of some adjectives and adverbs. Okay. And then you have to be able to give imperatives. Okay, both the singular and plural. Of verbs, right? So give them those imperatives, okay? There's just going to be a couple of those. You are going to have to conjugate, be able to conjugate a verb in, let's see, yep, in both the active and passive voices. So also all six, no, in other words, all six indicative active voices and all, and you know what, let's just put this, indicative active and passive, all six tenses, okay? So you guys know what that means, okay? Translate. Ooh, and then there's going to be a passage for you guys to translate. This is the first time because we're heading into this. We're in third quarter now. The test is going to get a little more tricky. There is going to be a passage for you to translate. From Latin to English. Okay. So it is how many sentences? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. It's a paragraph. Okay, so 7 sentences there. So, yeah. And because you have that passage there, and this is a lengthier unit test, you remember have no translation due this week. Okay?
Except for the one on the test.
Well, right. Your translation is on the test because this is a big test week. Okay? I was taking it easy on you. You guys had little quizzes before Christmas because you guys wanted to get to Christmas, but this week it's a big test. Okay? So look for the email shortly where I give you those things. But other than that, that's it. Are there any questions? No? Okay. I apologize for the disorganization. But anyway, if you have any questions, shoot me an email during the week. And I will see you next Monday at 9. All right. Thank you.